You can plug Proffie into computer with the battery in and the SD card in and power to the board, and it'll be fine. Okay, here's everything you need to know about the Graflex and Proffie. So if you're going to take the SD card out, get some nice flat pliers, use the carbon fiber ones, and just grab it from the sides and just pull straight out. In order to get back in, the SD card slot is directly under the board, so use a headlamp or your iPhone flashlight, and again, grab the tweezers and just guide it in. Use the kill switch whenever putting the SD card in or out, and you can test that by using the button. And then in order to plug into the computer, we're going to take the little micro SD ribbon guy. I'm going to connect it to the board first, carefully. Okay. Might have to kind of... And sometimes it won't port if it's not connected properly, so you might have to disconnect and reconnect a few times. Try the computer side first. Then the ribbon cable, exposed electronic side up, is going to get plugged in. Make sure Arduino is closed when in plugging. That's weird. That should not be happening because the kill switch should be on. Oh, with the kill switch on, it still plays. It's just the blade doesn't come on. That's fascinating. Usually, if the kill switch is engaged and there's no power to the battery, it'll do that distorted, garbly, terrible sounding, clipping, lo-fi version of the sound. Luckily, lately it's been remembering my volume settings, so it's been at minimum volume. So I like to have Sublime Text open with my my config file open. So after you plug it in, just wait a moment and then launch Arduino. And then I like to wait another moment for it to find the board, because sometimes if you go to port it too fast, it just won't show up. Or if it doesn't, like I said, if it's not showing up under port, should be right there, Proffie board in parentheses. So once that shows up and it's ported, we're good to go. I like to hit save on this just in case. And then you can change your config file to whatever you need. I've recently been using, I recently redid the config with FET263's config generator, which I'm going to bookmark under the Proffie folder. I will do that right now. Proffie save. Okay. Okay, this is the config helper. I do notice the URL says OS6, I'm sorry, OS7 config helper, but at the top you can set the OS version, which is currently set to OS6. If you run into trouble, you can post on the Crucible, crucible.hube.net. Currently the Proffie OS and then FET263 corner is the correct place in case you need help. So I like to have Sublime Text open with my config open while I'm doing stuff, and you know, you can change whatever you need, and then make sure you save it, and then plug in the Saber and launch Arduino. And I like to wait a moment so that it will actually port, and make sure you come in here and that this is clicked and it's ported. If it's not showing up, try just disconnecting and reconnecting the USB cable until it goes. Then I like to click save just in case. Then make any changes you're going to the config. or the SD card with the SD card out, then click verify, and that's going to take a moment. And then you can click upload, and it'll usually spit out an error code if there is a problem, or if it counts down to fail. Most likely it's because it's not ported. So this is what it should be like after it runs the verify. There's just like a bunch of red error codes, which is completely normal. Then it'll say how much space you have free. Then you can click upload, and it should take a moment to upload, and then it'll throw a bunch of crap and then start showing the upload percentage. So earlier when I said it'll throw a bunch of crap, I just mean all these red lines. And when it gets to 100%, it should play a sound.
The Force is with you, young Skywalker.
There we go. All right.
But you are not a Jedi yet.
And I hear it reset my volume. So yeah, there'll just be lines of red crap. And I see some of these say DFU error, DFU idle. I don't know if these are actually a problem or not. So once it's done with Arduino, once the upload is done, you can just quit Arduino. Then you can just unplug the Saber from the computer. I like to do the computer end first. And you can actually test stuff without unplugging the USB. So everything lives in this Sabers folder. The Proffie OS is all within this Proffie OS folder. The old one from the old OS from the first Luke Saber core is this old folder. Within here, the common folder is very important. This needs to be on the SD card, and it is currently within these two folders is where all the voice shit is. The actual WAV files for volume are like down here.
Maximum volume.
Also, the props folder, I'm using the Saber FET263 buttons.h. Let's see what else is important. So yeah, I put that on the SD card. I put the common folder on the SD card, and within the common folder there needs to be a tracks folder in order for the Saber track player in order to play other songs other than the one song that goes with the font, which I did do. That's already on the SD card for this Saber, for the Graflex. And the last thing you need to do is, before you eject your SD card, copy and paste it into the Saber backup. Make sure that you've got a backup of everything. In Arduino, you can go to Tools and then Serial Monitor, and then you can type in version to get the version number, or list _ presets to get information about the presets. There's also a note in my Notes app called Arduino Serial Monitor commands or something like that, which has the commands in there. If you're ever running into a problem with a Proffie Saber acting weird, you can delete the global INI, global temp, presets INI, and presets temp files, and that might fix it. Always make a backup first.